Samsung Galaxy S23 versus Nothing Phone 2 speed test. Let's begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go. Now keep in mind, I did cover the S23 Ultra, which does have more RAM than the S23 here, but actually the Nothing Phone 2 slots in around the same price point as the standard base S23. And that's why I want to make this video, because at the same money, you're going to pay, a little bit less for, or around the same as the Nothing Phone 2, but you're going to get a 6.7-inch OLED. But the S23 is definitely a favorite amongst myself and many out there. So this is still a really good phone as well. But you have great options this year with the Nothing Phone 2 booting up first. All right, so let's take a look at the fingerprint sensors and see which one is quicker. And it looks like maybe the Nothing Phone, yeah, just the animation a little bit faster. That's usually the case with these more vanilla Android versions. Their animations are just usually quicker, and the Nothing Phone does unlock faster. Now, both of them do have a face unlock. However, I would argue that the Nothing Phone's animation on that looks a little faster as well. There's like a fly-in animation you'll see here on Samsung Galaxy S23 versus a Nothing Phone. This kind of snaps in, very similar to what you'll find on things like a OnePlus device and some of those Chinese phones where they're like really fast to just snap right into the OS. So I would say the Nothing Phone unlocks faster, not only on the fingerprint sensor, but also on the face unlock. Now, from the operating system perspective, we are looking at One UI 5.1 over here, and we do have the Nothing OS 2.0.1 on board for the Nothing Phone 2. Now, keep in mind that the Nothing Phone 2 is more of a vanilla Android experience with a few customizations thrown on top, including the main thing here, which is the glyph interface. Definitely included here. That is the main showstopper here on this phone. So you'll get things that really show you, something you won't see. It's lighting. People say, oh, it's just lighting on the back. Actually, it's actually kind of useful. You can use this for Uber rides and other things. So it can do a lot more than just light up the back. It's actually going to be used with some of the software to use that lighting. So pretty cool there. But other than that, a super smooth experience across the board. 120 hertz display and Android 13 on there. And over here for the S23, Samsung has really knocked it out of the park this year with the S23 being the smoothest Samsung phone I've ever used, including the S23 Plus and S23 Ultra with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 5.1. There's been virtually no lags, no performance hiccups, and this is what we've been wanting from Samsung for years, having a ton of great features along with great performance. Okay, so we've arrived at the app test, and you can see everything is closed out for both phones. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 left, and then we have on the right, we have the 8 Plus Gen 1. Let's go into calendar, and you'll see calendar look faster maybe on the S23. We're going to go into calculator. That was pretty even. We'll go into clock. Maybe faster on the right. We'll go into weather. And Samsung loads up a little bit more because it's a little bit more of a minimal interface over here. You can see it's still loading some stuff there. So S23 a little slower there in the weather app. Let's go into Instagram. And you'll see, I think Nothing might have had that. Nothing has this one for sure. And S23 taking a little bit of time. We'll go over here to this post right here, my Google Pixel Fold. And you'll see once in the application, no major issues. Going back, pretty much the same once all loaded up. Pretty much the same. Pretty nice. Let's go into Play Store. And you'll see Play Store is first there on the Nothing Phone. We'll go over here to apps. And I do think the Nothing Phone is very well optimized for just a second-gen CPU or a second-gen phone from a brand that just kind of launched like with the Nothing Phone 1. So you can tell that Nothing knows what they're doing when it comes to smartphones. They didn't just come out of the blue with people who don't know anything about smartphones. They made a really good smartphone. So you have a good option here. So let's go into YouTube here on both phones, and you'll see YouTube loads up there first on the right. Let's go into Groupon, and you'll see pretty similar. We're going to go into categories now. And how about things to do? And you'll find that first on the left. Let's go back. You can see once in application, S23 a little faster there. Let's go into retail. And you'll see S23 a little faster there. So maybe in some sub-menus, S23 is going to be a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and do Amazon one more time because S23 was loading. There you go. Pretty much the same again. We're going to Starbucks. Starbucks first on the right. We're going to Best Buy. And you'll see Best Buy first there on the right. So you can see that even with having the newer CPU and everyday application performance, or what you basically do every day, opening up applications, using your applications, I'm pretty sure that's 90% of what you do on your phone. The Nothing Phone 2 is just fine. It's actually a little snappier in some scenarios, and that's more than likely due to the fact that it's using the more vanilla version of Android. Let's go over here to Dead Trigger 2, but it does throw on its own customization with its own Nothing Phone icons, and it does have the glyph interface. It's just fun and different to use versus, it feels like an all-new product compared to what we've been used to with seeing One UI and the same old iOS. So it's definitely, you know, a different experience. Now, whether you want that or not is really up to you. Some people don't care. They like what they're used to, and they want to keep using what they're used to. But at the same time, you got to acknowledge the fact that at least they tried something different here with the Nothing Phone 2. And this one's pretty close, but I think we were loading something up here on the S23, so it took us slightly longer. But at the same time, both of them could load games. But here's the thing. Look at the size of the screen versus S23 for the same price. Now, usually this occurs when a brand is more fresh. They usually will give you a really good product offering, like that would usually cost more from a different brand, until they build their brand up and then they start charging more for it. So I really want to see where Nothing Phone goes and if they start to charge more for their phones, because if they start to do that, then I don't really think it'll be such, you know, an amazing value anymore if they start jacking the price up and starting to pretend like they're at the top of the game. So if they can keep their pricing strategy the same while offering really good specs like they've been doing, I think we have a winner on our hands. Now, I think I got Call of Duty out of place here. Let me go ahead and place Call of Duty right here really quickly. And let's go over here to Geekbench, and we'll see what happens here. We'll go into 3D Mark, and I think that was S23. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up by loading up Call of Duty and see which one can do this first. Again, both of them using Adreno GPUs on board. Again, both Qualcomm chips, so they should be pretty similar. Looks like the Nothing Phone kind of in the lead there. Let's see about getting to that homepage. Like I say, I mean, graphically speaking, I do think the S23 will pull ahead. But the majority of users would probably never tell. With the gaming mode, with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, bigger display, maybe some people might actually like the Nothing Phone 2 better for gaming just because of the size of the screen at the same money as a smaller S23. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up there for the initial speed test of the apps. I will say that they were trading blows left and right, so you know, this is really neck and neck here, I would say, even though the chipset would argue different for the S23. Alright, so let's take a look at the RAM management. Let's see if we get any problems for the S23. So far, no problems. Yep, that looked like a reload there for the S23. Or maybe it wasn't, because it kind of just went straight to the lobby. Let's go into Dead Trigger 2. That's a full reload. That's weird. We'll go to eBay, Best Buy again. We're rocking with, this is a reload. We're rocking with 8 gigs of RAM. And then we have Starbucks, Amazon. Ooh, choppy. What is up with my S23 today? Weird. We've had some great speed tests with this. I don't know what the heck's going on today. Maybe it's updating stuff. I don't see any update notifications. Yeah, we had a couple of reloads. Actually, about 3 or 4 on the S23, 8 gigs of RAM. 12 gig of RAM version here I have on the Nothing Phone 2. They also sell an 8 gig of RAM version, so this is a little bit unfair with the RAM game. But, you know, this is the same price, 12 gigs of RAM. So far, this already looks smoother than the S23. That's animation. Now, that's reloading the same way. Dead Trigger 2 had a better opening. Yeah, Samsung has to work on the animations, seriously. Just the smooth look of this, look at this. All of this is open. They need to work on animations, as simple as that. Even Nothing Phone has smoother animations than the Galaxy S23. Sorry, Samsung. You gotta work on animations, boy. Like, great phone, love it. I still purchased it, but I just want to see a little bit smoother animations. I know you can do it. Let's go One UI 6.0. That's what I'm rooting for. Let's take it onto the camera. How fast can they open a camera? 3, 2, go, and we're gonna see. Nothing Phone. Nope, nothing looked like it had it, but that's gonna go to the S23. Let's do it again. 1, 2, go. That time Nothing Phone had it. Now, both of them have this thing where you can double click the home button to go, or the power button to go to the cameras. Let's see which one can do that fast. Let's bring the Android robot man over here. And we'll do that in 3, 2. Hold on, let me get in the frame. 3, 2. No, that's going to be hard to do. Hold on, let me do that again. I'm only human. I make mistakes. 3, 2. Hold on, let's do that again. 3, 2. Yeah, that looks a little faster on the Nothing Phone. Oh, your fingers aren't correct, Nick. Oh, well, let's go ahead and do it again. 3, 2. Nah, that's faster on the Nothing Phone. I can't be that off. Did you see how much ahead that was? 3, 2. Nah, that's faster on the Nothing Phone too. I don't care if I'm off a millisecond. That's faster on the Nothing Phone too. Get out of town. That is faster on the Nothing Phone too, hands down. Alright, so here we are with the final scores for Geekbench 6. You'll see the S23 beats it in not only single, but by a pretty good margin. And that multi-core score, 5024 versus a 4498 on Nothing Phone. But keep in mind, again, these aren't the same CPUs. The S23 is the newer CPU, so not quite exactly fair. We'll hit to the Wildlife Extreme, and I'm not giving, Nothing Phone the extra, credit here just because it has an older CPU and trying to make it seem better than it is, but it does perform pretty well for what you're getting. But the S23 is just simply the better chip, and that's where you can say, look, I could pay the same money and get the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Why would I pay, the same money and get a phone with last year's chip? And that's because the chip is still great from last year, but you're getting, bigger screen. You're getting, potentially maybe a little bit of a different experience, but it's mostly the bigger screen you're getting. So you're paying for more screen, essentially, versus you're paying for more chip on the S23. So I'll be back when they're done with the 3D Mark. I expect a small win for the S23, but let's see how much it actually does win out by. And I was wrong. Not such a small win. A pretty drastic win here. 3673 on the overall score. Again, this was beating the iPhone, even on this chipset, so pretty good. 2461 for Nothing Phones, over 1,000 points better on the Samsung with an average frame rate of 22 FPS. So gaming-wise, smaller screen but better graphic performance, GPU performance. You'll see 14.70 on the average frame rate on the right. This scoring better than 87% of other devices. So basically, if you get the S23, you're better than almost everybody's phone in performance. It's just the facts. Now, down here, you'll see scoring better than 63% of other devices. So you're better than a little bit more than half of everybody's devices, but not quite, but we're only talking about the performance there. You're still going to be standing out as something different for sure. So that's where the Nothing Phone shines, is that it's not the same old Samsung or Apple phone on the block. So that's going to wrap it up here for me, S23 and Nothing Phone 2. Even with 8 gigs of RAM, the S23 still does beast over the Nothing Phone 2 and the benchmarks. And overall, it's just a better performer, hands down, even with less RAM. So it could use a little bit better RAM management if Samsung would go back to giving us more RAM on the smaller models, but I don't see that happening. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know which one you would pick down below, Galaxy S23 or Nothing Phone 2 at around the same price point. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here.